Welcome Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
So I'm like, what comic books are you reading?
Independent comic books. That's the ones we're reading, not the ones that come from the mainstream market where they've lost their way and not only can't find it back, but absolutely refuse to find it back. They're like a 1950s husband in a beat-up old Pontiac off the road in the desert, and the wife saying, get directions, get direction, get direction, and saying, I know where we're going, as they head towards the cliff on purpose. That's mainstream comics. Although I will say that apparently a service attendant has stepped in and just might be able to convince them that the direction's that way. We'll have to see. But of course, the news is that Jeff Johns has been sent back to Warner Brothers and DC Comics, much to the chagrin of many, to the delight of many more. And the many more are the ones who actually buy the comics. So we'll watch that and see. Meanwhile, let's stick with the independents because they are tried and true. And one of those independents is the Life on Cora series, which has been crowdfunding through Indiegogo. It is up to issue number 5 now. And we have creator Mike Jimmy de Lortia Bruin. Yeah, did I do that right? Is it de Lortia de Bruin?
Lortia de Bruin.
Lord of the Browns. I've got to.
There you go.
The thing is, if I remember it that way, I'll say it that way. Mike Jimmy, how are you today over there in the Netherlands?
Doing pretty good. Had a pretty successful launch, and just filling up the rest of the weekend with even more shows, starting with this one. So it's a good time.
And you've got fans here. Keely Chow saying, "Hey, everybody!" Miss Rena's giving us a nice shout out there. So,
always a pleasure to have her around.
Good to have you folks with us. I told you I had to make the trip to the overnight UPS drop. The other thing that I saw when I got back, in addition to the Kara Nicole 52 pinup package, which I backed and received today, and no, I will not show it because I got the one that can't have kids seeing it, and I don't want YouTube putting me down. But I also had tweets coming at me because apparently the Critical Blast logo showed up on a stream this morning. Sponsored and run by my good friend Ethan Van Sciver, who is showing the Gun Demon project, which we're backing, and they put our logo on there because they said, hey, this is who's distributing us, much like we might see later on the show today.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'm where you might have been with like the second issue of Life on Cora when you realize, hey, this is really a thing now.
Yeah. Actually, that was more with 3 than like 1 was a really big one. 2 kind of flopped because I finished it a week before conventions all shut down in 2020.
Oh yeah.
And then with 3 doing pretty decently on Indiegogo, at the start of last year, I was like, you know what? Let's keep going on this. This works.
And no end in sight. And it's got the perfect formula because it's just a world being explored, and you don't have to have the same characters showing up all the time. It's like, and over here, this is happening, and over there, this is happening. Same world, we know the rules, but it's like, what was it? The streets of San Francisco opened up with the phrase, there are a million stories in the naked city. And well, I don't know why it was naked. It was San Francisco. It's cold there. I've been there. But yeah, it was like, every tale was a totally different cast of characters. So, so I never asked you why. What was it that made you say, you know what, I want a planet that has that's not a planet. It's a world, but it's not a planet, and we'll never figure that out for a long, long time. Um, and I'm just going to tell tales of critters.
Yeah. So first of all, it started with me just going, I want to make a true fantasy, and that means just have think up a world, no humanoids. Love on Cora 3 gets a little too close for my personal preference, but it was a good story, so why not? But what came after that, because it is such an open concept, and I just made like concepts for creatures, and made it very open and easy. And after 1 and 2, my ex left, who was the original writer for it, and so I took Martin and Kimberly on board as new writers, and they've been with me since issue 3. And they just keep thinking up new creatures and new ideas, and I'm like, you know what? This really works.
Yes, it
Because
does. One of the things that appeals to me with Life on Cora is that the reader knows more about the world than the inhabitants do.
yes,
We've got this sort of omniscient perspective, and it's not because you're telling us that it is. We can look at it and see. We can tell that, hey, this Cora thing was something man-made or humanoid made at one point. It had a cataclysm. It's evolved, and the science is still there. The
yes,
science that ran this thing, but they don't know that it's science. So to them, it's all magic, and they treat it as magic, and they develop cultures and religions and rituals around all of it. And we're looking at it like, but it's just a this or it's just a that.
yeah. It's just a battery in the shape of an orb, but to them it's like, yeah, but this is why it works. Without the drums in like 11 Cora 1, it doesn't work. I'm like, yes, it fucking does, but
It kind of reminds me of Hogfather, one of the Terry Pratchett Discworld novels,
yes,
where it's like, hey, if Hogfather doesn't deliver all the Christmas, all the Hogmas gifts, the sun won't come up in the morning. And
yeah,
they get it all done, and like, well, what would have happened tomorrow, Death? He says, well, a giant glowing gaseous ball of light would appear to come up over the horizon as we tilted. He's like, but you said the sun wouldn't come up. He said, totally different thing. Totally different thing.
yes,
It's story,
yes.
and it's important to have it understood in a certain way.
I love
even
that
though
movie.
It's the same thing.
I am a huge Pratchett fan, so don't worry when you're saying anything about the Discworld series. Also, I recently learned La Meadows, so one of the places in the Discworld, if you turn it around, it says saw them all.
Oh, he's a brilliant man.
I was today years old, and it was glorious.
Oh, Sodom all. Yes, absolutely. Aria, yes. If you get in on this campaign, you'll be able to get all 5 issues somewhere, right?
Yes.
On one of the tiers. And that, of course, will be the big package.
Big package! You gotta have your big package.
Gotta have the big package. So I'm getting ready to scroll, and I haven't even shared the picture yet. So tell us about the characters that we're going to meet in this iteration, because it's always somebody new so far.
So Oxton and Toyfan are two Eleni who are literally yay big, between like that small, and they are chameleon-like six-legged creatures, and they're semi-sentient. Think the level of intelligence of a rat, and yeah, they're looking for the lost friend because he wanted to map out a certain place on the continent that they haven't been before, or at least so they think. And so they use an aquanid, which is a flying insect that is just slightly bigger than them, to travel big distances. And yeah, on this big adventure, they might get more than they bargained for. No pun intended, Arya.
That's interesting too, because they haven't explored their whole world yet, so it's still a frontier to them. And I've just a picture says it better. There, that's the picture I'm looking for. When they're exploring. I don't know which one they're on here, but this is their world. At some point, they're going to discover, hey, there's other places out there. Wow, our world is huge.
Oh no, we're still on one continent. It's one flying insect. There's space in between the continents. So in order to move between them, you'll actually need a spaceship.
And nobody's going to evolve to that level for a while, or has somebody?
No, they haven't, but the technology is still there.
Oh, so you're saying that the spaceships they had could be discovered. I see. Yeah.
Same way a flying machine got discovered in Love and Cora too.
Exactly. So there's a lot of stuff here that they could still find. Possibly even, recordings of the old race that might give a hint as to, what happened. What were the last days of Cora before it became Cora? And was it Cora before? I mean, did they call it Cora? Did it stand for something? Is it C.O.R.A.?
No, it's just called Cora.
Why?
Because I like the name. And some things don't have to be explained further. And you could go into lore and you could dive right into it and get into the world building trap, But on the other hand, if I leave it very open the way it is right now, it is so much more fun, and it's more fun for my writers to work on. It's more fun for me because I can expand a lot easier on their writing in individuals. So sometimes you just gotta say, this is why, it is this way because it is.
And sometimes that's all it takes. Why is Earth called Earth? It's just we named it something. I'm reminded of how a lot of science fiction stories, you'll have a planet, and then there'll be a city on the planet that's named after the planet. Caprica, Caprica City, Krypton, Kryptonopolis. I was watching Caprica on DVD. I'd gotten the preview copies when it was Sci-Fi Channel promos, and I was working at a grocery headquarters, and I called my science fiction buddy that I work with. Said, "Hey, I got the Caprica disc. Let's watch it at lunch today." We plugged in headphones. We had a headphone splitter. We're sitting there looking at the same laptop, we're buddy. And they went to Caprica City, and I paused. And I'm like, "Isn't that the stupidest thing in the world? That every time there's a planet, you have a city named after it." And he's looking at me, and I go through the whole thing. I'm like, "Look, it's Caprica City, Krypton, Kryptonopolis." There were a few others that I knew at the time, and he's looking at me like he's waiting for me to wake up from a drunken stupor. And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Where are we?" And I told him the company. I was like, "We're here." He's like, "And where is that?" I'm like, "Earth City, Missouri." I felt so stupid. I'm sitting in Earth City and I'm talking about how dumb these things are, and it didn't even dawn on me. It's like, and it's not even a town. It is its own town. It's incorporated as that, but nobody lives there. It's all businesses, and it's got its own zip code and everything. But yes, yep. Folks, yes, Virginia, there is an Earth City on this planet. Probably more than one now.
Almost every single river in the world is literally named the old way they used to name a river there. Whether you have the Rhine, which at some point in very old Anglo-Saxon was the name for literally a river, a river was Rhine, and the Amazon River, Amazon was the name of the delta,
Yeah.
and
Mississippi River was,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, we have a super sticker. Thank you, Tatsunami. I can't see it in StreamYard, but I do have it on my phone here. Is that a fox? That's a fox with a headband and it's just doing a little happy dance. Thank you so
Ooh,
much. I really appreciate that.
thank you.
Always glad to have you in the chat, whether you super sticker us or not. But when you do, it's like it makes it extra special. Where were we? We were talking geography for some reason. Well, because this
Yes.
planet has a special geography. Now, when I look down at the planet here, where's the water? I know there's water because they're crossing it in this video. I just don't see great bodies of it.
Well, keep in mind that these are gigantic continents. Like these are gigantic plains that they're living on. So, yeah, you won't find a complete ocean per se. But there are some smaller seas, and like you see in La Cora 4, though it's from the bottom of it. And yeah, there's the main water supply is a single cloud that orbits the core as well, which I still haven't figured out how, but whatever, I'm having fun. So
Well, you can always talk to a scientist later and say, why would this work? And he would say, it wouldn't. You could say, yes, but if you had to make it work. Because I don't know if all these chunks have their own atmosphere around them, or if the atmosphere is around the battery. So, stay on top. Don't go down the bottoms here.
More like that.
Okay. Because, the grass grass grows here because obviously the sun is the battery that's their light source is not going around all places, or, wow, that was completely pre-Aristotelian. The planetoids are not revolving in a way that exposes all sides of it to the sun over time.
No, it's essentially a gigantic cone with a bowl that pretty much always faces the core.
Yeah, and we haven't seen this, the top one here.
No, we're going to expand a lot in the coming issue. So this one is still on Druze, which is the continent explored so far. But there are a couple coming on different continents, so keep an eye on that.
You need to get in contact with my good friend George Peter Gatsis. Why? Because you can get a 3D rendering of this world, and then you can start rotating it around so you can see into the other continents a little bit better. That would be.
Well, keep in mind this was literally the first concept I've made of this world.
Yeah, and you keep showing it at the beginning of every book, so it's like, here's where we are. The reader knows exactly what the starting position is. So I'm going to try and play the video. We'll see if it works, because, like I said, normally I download them, and I didn't this time. Let's give it a go.
Ooh, fancy layouts.
StreamYards did this new. Unmute. You have such a variety of life on this planet as well. This is interesting. Wow, what in the world am I? I got to make sure that none of these video suggestions are. Well,
yeah.
YouTube wouldn't take me down for a video of their own, would they? No, come on. But my son gets my phone sometimes when I go see him, and he looks up questionable YouTube videos. And they always come back and bite me when I do live streams and show YouTube. They're like, "Hey, you want to see some more of that Mario cussing and throwing poop?" And stuff. No, I didn't want to see it in the first place.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I just love the I love the concept and that they're going after their friend and finding. And I saw these buildings, and first thing I'm thinking of, they didn't build these things. These are probably left over from old Cora.
Exactly. Like
Cora.
they're completely ancient buildings. They're ruins, most of them. They still have like all kinds of hieroglyphs and everything on them that we explore a bit more in Love and Cora 1 and 2 than the other ones so far. But yeah, like there is a lot of writing around. There's a lot of creativity from the ancients. You know, they were very much highly sentient. So yeah, like you really see that there was a gigantic world, like active and populated by a highly sentient being.
Now, I know that these creatures have evolved on this planet over millions of years since the destruction of the race that built it all. But were they like, did they go through the whole cycle of primordial ooze, one-celled, single-celled organisms and such,
Oh, no.
or are they evolved from the creatures that the ancients already had there, like chameleons in aquariums and stuff? That
more likely, like from the way I've been making it and been thinking about it in my own head, it's a lot like it was very green already. It was very natural for a big part. Probably not as bad as it is now, but there was wildlife. There were all kinds of creatures. It was its own sustaining ecosystem. And yeah, once the
people came and
dominant
screwed it up.
species died out, it was
They have a very unique facial structure. If you're looking at the side of this guy's face, and you're like, why are both his eyes on the side of his head? No, that's 2 of his 4 eyes.
Yes.
So, and that's just something they've evolved to. It's an aesthetic thing. They look really alien with 4 eyes. There's no real reason for it, right?
Actually, there is. So,
okay, that's what I want to know. Educate us.
So these creatures have a very special trait that they can see infrared. So yeah, we're not seeing it, through their eyes, but they actually see infrared, and that's where the second pair of eyes is for. So their main eyes pretty much see the same kind of colors that we do, but because they are so small, they had to grow an extra defense mechanism, which is being able to spot things through foliage. And let's be honest, if you move, you get warm.
Yes, but, and now I've got more science question stuff here, because one of the things that we've talked enough that I'm very much aware of why the color scheme is always greens and blues, because the battery has, it's a green and blue battery. So those are the light waves that get reflected off of things. There may be red things there. They're going to look black because, the
Yes.
light waves are reflecting off of them in that way. Can you see infrared if your light source is that's refracting is that? I mean,
Yes, because infrared is essentially just heat. So if you could see infrared, like only infrared, your entire spectrum would just be shades of red, going from very light to pretty much white, like white hot. So, and because you're seeing the infrared of creatures around you, you're seeing their own heat sources. Yes, you can see infrared.
okay, that I'll buy it. I was just, I'm thinking, what would it be like? We're privileged to grow up in this white light system spectrum.
Yes.
So that, we do get to see all the different wavelengths of color. I can't imagine what it would be like to be somebody on Cora, and your whole life you've seen this. This is what colors are. These are the colors I have, and to then, be brought into a spectrum where I have no idea what I'm looking at. What color is that? If you see red, if you see yellow, um, it warps my brain even trying to think of what a color I've never seen before might look like. Uh,
Yeah, imagine like the lobsters, the shrimps with like the super strong hunting mechanism where they can click their claws out at such a speed that it makes its own light. They
yeah,
have 12 kinds of light receptors. So they can literally see colors that we would not be able to comprehend. So like we only have
breaks
two
my brain.
kinds. Yeah, like we only have two kinds. Butterflies have like six of them. And these guys have 12, which is utterly insane to think about. Like, what would their world look like? How bright would that be?
You're making us think too hard.
I'm very good at these kinds of discussions. I love them.
I do too. I did. This is like, I'm used to discussing it more like 2 a.m.
Yeah, after a beer or six, but yes.
Yeah, exactly. But so these two guys, they're going out after their buddy. He went out to explore. He didn't come back. They're like, okay, let's go retrieve him. Now, one of the things that I've seen in reading Cora is that whenever you have a species that is the focus, they talk to each other, they communicate, they go off and do the thing. And every other species they run into, they don't. They're like, yeah, we are out here and look, there's predators and there's animals and stuff. But all those other animals probably, if I'm surmising correctly, also talk, but just to each other. and
Yeah, because let's be honest here. Like, if you got two kinds of birds, they're going to be able to speak to one another in pretty high quality languages. It may sound very primitive and like simple to us, but they will still be able to communicate with one another. They know exactly what the other is saying, from sometimes miles away, just because they like their hearing and their vocal cords are made to make those kinds of sounds and hear them. So yeah, you're going to have 3 or 4 kinds of species on Cora. They're all going to have their own kind of language, some more developed than others, but they won't, they will still be able to communicate in like to each other.
yeah, and it's, I guess what am I trying to get with here is in fantasies a lot you'll have like Mr. Tumnus can speak to Mr. Badger, and
Hmm.
they both speak the same language. They have a conversation. They're completely different species. But if Toyven and Ogston were to run across the path of Otzi, well, Otzi's oh look, it's one of those flying things, another animal.
Yes,
And that would be what it is to them as an animal. And he would look down and say, oh, what are those two animals doing? They're just digging around and looking for something.
exactly.
They can't intercommunicate, intercooperate even.
And that's something that even as a kid bothered me, because you got two completely different kinds of creatures that make completely different noises and have completely different body language talking to each other like they're people. And like, I'm sorry, but no.
Yeah, because magic. That's how
Yes,
magic
exactly.
works. And you're in a world of science that thinks it's magic. Um, I still haven't figured out why birds don't crossbreed. Like
I know, right?
Yeah, every other mammal does. Why aren't there any blue jay chickens running around?
That would be very, very
It'd be
uh,
weird. But yeah,
it would
mutt
be
birds.
weird, yes, but it would also be very shameful for a blue jay.
This is true. How's that blue jay's attacking that chicken out there?
No, he's not, little Billy.
I didn't really ever think about that until I read The Hunger Games, and they had those birds that were a cross between mockingbirds and blue jays. I'm like, why doesn't that happen? Racist birds.
Oh, speaking of my writer, hey Martin.
Because they're extinct. Oh, yeah. Okay. They don't have that instinct, and therefore they went extinct. So let's look at the tiers here, because we know what we're going to get story-wise here. It's going to be, they're going to learn something. That's the beautiful thing about Life on Cora, is that every time you finish the story, your characters have learned something. They've grown, and more than likely, you've grown with them.
Oh yes, as an artist and as an editor, every single time, like, you learn so much from these standalone stories.
Oh, I was speaking as the reader. The reader comes away with a revelation, a self reveal of sorts. But you got a lot of tiers on it this time here. The more this series grows, the more it gets. So your featured package is 120 euros, $137 for those of us using real money. I mean, American money. That joke works better with the Canadians when I pull that one off. You get all the variants of number 5. Wow.
So that's 8 variants and a plushie. So yeah, be sure to scroll down, because it actually shows all the.
Yeah, we'll see them better over here than the big tier. So all the covers are 10 pounds. Pick one; they're all 10 pounds. It's not like, hey, main one's this, but if you want this other one, it's going to cost you more.
No, all the same.
So this is the main cover by you and Aristine. Am I saying it right? Aristine?
It's a good question. I never spoke to her in real life, so I wouldn't be able to.
Okay. Well, very vicious-looking centipede-like creature here. It looks like a tomato worm, of what we call a tomato worm. They're very vicious-looking things. And is this the same flying creature that Octaz was having to avoid?
No, this is a completely different species of bird.
Okay. So we're always. Have you repeated any species yet from book to book?
Only in 1 and 2 with the Tusker and the Nottle.
Yeah.
Because they they lead into one another, so but otherwise no. No, there's a couple of recurring ones in the background, but yeah, for the most part, after number 2, all new creatures all the time.
Well, even recurring in the background, though, sort of lends a cohesion to, these characters are, at least physically close enough to each other to share the same demographics, zoological demographics.
Yeah.
You have a alternate cover here for the Raging AVC crew here.
That's right. Because Nita and Meredith helped me so much on promotion on the last one and on this one, and I went, you know what? Let's give them some love, because they're incredible people, and I love the dudes. They have the most adorable little creatures there, so I couldn't.
Now, are these creatures that look like Nita and Meredith, obviously? Minus the headband and the glasses, which distinguish them. Are they creatures that exist on Cora, or are they just like, I'm making a creature?
No, they're just funny, and I love them. They're non-canonical. All
right. This one, Dangerously Sleepy. This is that giant centipede. Man, this is probably the best regular cover you've got here from Kimmy Comics. It's a gorgeous piece of work. And
she's amazing.
Want to scream, "Wake up! Get out of there!"
She is a fellow Dutch creator. She's making her own comics and everything as well. and I was like, "Hey, would you like to make a cover?" And she was like, "Holy crap, yes!" She is amazing. Her art quality is something that a lot of us want to achieve, including myself. And she's still younger than me, and it's bothering.
Yeah, well, everybody's younger than me now, so
Um,
I start having conversations about stuff and get those blank stares. They're like, "What are you talking about? What's a catalog?" I was like, "Oh my god!" Back in the day, they used to come in the mail. We couldn't order on the internet. Uh, Now, I said this is a giant centipede, but that's a perspective trick, I think, isn't it? Because the name of the book is Tiny Travels, and this may be to you and I standard-sized centipede, and our little
well, it's
characters.
got to be pretty big, like like because the Eleni, like the creatures they're about, they're like the space between my finger and thumb right now. So
Okay,
they're like a foot long, foot and a half.
all right.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
they're
Retro Future. Welcome to the chat. Glad to have you here, sir, or madam. It's hard to tell sometimes. Um, have you done any sort of a what would you call it, a bestiary for the creatures of the
it is on
forest
my
list?
Google Drive link. Yes.
Okay,
And things get added slowly but surely. And there will be a bestiary at some point. Might
with
just make
everything
it a
drawn to
stretch goal.
scale, so we can see, how
Yeah,
they relate to
I'd
each other.
love that. That would definitely. I think I might just do that as a stretch goal, but we're not that far down yet, so I need a
Yeah,
little
and they
bit
wouldn't have to
more,
be
guys.
drawn like in a lineup with 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot. Just like one of each, and describe them,
Yeah,
and then like this big fold out picture of just Cora as a backdrop, not the planet, but the lush plants and water and everything, and just everybody doing their thing. So you can say, oh, they're there's Octaz, there's Yahtzee, and it's just it's hard. You're making up these names, aren't you? They're not based on any language.
the Tusco, Nuttall and Tisker are. So
Okay.
Atsi is ancient. Uh, Whatchamacallit? Uh, Ancient Zuma, so Incan language for rain. And Grund obviously means ground in Old German. So
You're gonna get an etymological lesson out of this whole thing. It's entomology and etymology all in one. Uh,
woo!
Insects and words. Um,
Sit down, children. Let me teach you a lesson.
can you say etymology? I know you can. Um, this one, not a frog. The Aria Black cover. Uh, I hate frogs. How can
Actually,
Aria? How can you be
uh,
CG and hate frogs? That's not allowed. That
well,
will
this
that will
character
get
can.
you ostracized, sir. But yeah, actually, we're more like lizards, and wow, this is such a great picture here. Um,
He inked this traditionally, and he sent it to me like in the black and white, and I was like, holy crap! How long did this take? Because there is so much detail in this.
I mean the leaves, the bark,
Oh my god!
uh,
Yeah,
all that background, the water. It looks like it's. You can see the ripples where he's standing in it, where the lily pads are, and uh, it's absolutely gorgeous. Well done, Aria. Well done.
it's incredible.
And this, if you are a fan of Tailless, and once you get the Tailless book, it's coming soon. You will be a fan. Um,
Oh yeah, I know I
this
am.
is this is your second crossover with Tailless, by the way. You had a print, right?
That is right. Oh, and a lot of things fell because I grabbed something. But
That happens to me all the time.
when I ran Love and Cora 4, he and I did a collaboration with Yeah, an extra print if you backed both our campaigns. So these are no longer available and never will be, but they are awesome and I love them. And this was colored by Aria's girlfriend, Niam,
Oh,
who just
nice.
did a phenomenal job. I penciled and inked it, but she nailed the coloring. Like,
The background on that, the stars and everything's just beautiful.
it's
Uh,
absolutely amazing.
that is, of course, Talus's spaceship flying past Cora. Martin said the centipede thing is a crawl hugger, and he's the one
Yes.
making names up. So
Yeah, he just makes names up, and um, what you call it? Kimberly does too for her stories, but honestly, they work. So why would I bother? Not
exactly.
everything has to have very deep meaning, etc.
Speaking of horror,
Oh yeah, oh
Mark,
yeah.
now this one's a scary one. This is a perspective on that crawl hugger, where I mean, tuck your tail there, because you're about to
You're
lose
gonna
it.
want to run.
Rows and rows of teeth.
He made such an awesome eldritch horror-esque creature out of it. I
Out of a
love
bug.
it. Yeah, it's and because he made the Eleni like toy from an Oxtan really um like just close enough to realism that it really convinces you that they're in peril. It just keeps blowing me away. It's such a great work.
Yeah, they're very emotive for lizard things like sea turtles. Yeah, sure. And then there's still more. There's still more.
Oh
Daphne Lake's
yes.
on a cover.
Oh
Brenda,
yeah.
I love Daphne's stuff. I should be getting any day my Eagle Raven book. So
Me
can't
too.
wait
Me
to
too.
dig
I'm
into
looking
that.
forward to it. I need the next issue.
So this is very cool. She's done. She's very good at this kind of thing. And now what's this? How many covers you got here,
Eight.
man?
I got 8.
8.
Look,
That's
it's the 5th issue. We had to go extra.
that's a lot.
Oh yeah.
Adorable playtime, Gladys Peanut. Now this is like chibi-esque. Uh,
Yes. She
her characters, your characters.
So Gladys is a NFT artist and has been making these adorable creatures for the last 10 years or so. And if you want something made adorable, Gladys Peanut is the person you should talk to because she will blow you away and she makes the most adorable things. And it's so cute.
They are.
I squealed.
I was looking to see if she had somehow managed to make that centipede crawl hugger thing adorable, but I don't think you can. I think that's too much. And Sean Howe, wow,
Yes,
I love his pinup stuff, and this is a painting, isn't it?
it is. This is completely traditional art. So um, he kind of took my style. He really eyeballed it. But on the other hand, because it's completely traditional with traditional coloring and everything, it gives it such a different flair that yeah, I would hang this from my wall and would be absolutely happy to keep it there for years, because it's such a beautiful piece. He really, really nailed the feeling of Cora the way I draw it, but but in a completely different and I don't know, warm way. Even though they're pretty cool colors, it has a lot of depth and a lot of feeling to it.
Yeah. So everybody's wanting to participate in Life on Korra now because they recognize a title that's up and coming when they see one. And these are your Otzi plushies here. This is a character
There
from
we
book
go.
number 1. You've got one right there. Let's look at
There
that.
we go. This is Atsi from Life in Korra 1. And you can already put her ears however you want them to. You can make it nice and derpy or backwards. So one thing that I'm going to change, because this is the prototype and I haven't ordered the complete set yet because money, which we're crowdfunding for as well, is that her wings are glued together. So what I asked the manufacturer is to unglue this and put wiring in it as well, so you can pose both the ears and the wings.
Pose the wings. Yeah. Now they I guess it's a mechanical requirement for the structure because the wings don't go all the way back. The artwork of the wings don't go all the way back on the flap that's there
Yeah.
clothwise. Is that something that's going to change, or is that just has to be
No,
that way?
I actually really like it the way they solved it, because if you have the kind of serration, for example, on the ears, with the little feathers,
Right.
that wouldn't work on the wing, and it would essentially make it ugly. And the way they solved it, it runs into a point, but on the other hand, it doesn't take away from the painting on the wings.
Bristolian Dave is in the chat. All right, me babbers, and he can't wait to get his plushie.
Yes, let's see.
We can't wait to send it to you. Now, all of this stuff is in the featured tier. All 8 of those covers and the plushie.
That's right.
Wait. What are we looking? Oh, these are back issues and add-ons.
You still have me big, by the way.
I still have you big. Yes, you do. Well, you had the plushie. You had the plushie.
Yeah.
So I've got to scroll back up to the top because I want to make sure I'm not misstating this. This is going to be all the variants, the main cover and the plushie. Okay.
Yes.
And that's where it stops. $137 to get all 8 of those books and the Otzi plushie. And then, in addition to all of that, you have add-ons.
Yes. So you can get all the back issues. There is a catch-up tier as well, together with the plushie, or just standalone. And we are giving out pretty much the entire Fairy Sentence library as well. So you will actually be able to get the Singular and the Radiant site as well, and
now
some
that's-
anthologies.
The Sin Killer here. That is not. You're not publishing that, am I correct? That's Marv's doing that.
So Marvi is doing it, but I'm doing a full print run because I told him, dude, we have something here. You deserve to get more money for your IP. I want to sell your book. So
because we've already distributed this once, and now I'm going to get to see it again. She'll show up in our warehouse,
and it's going to be oversized.
Oh, it's oversized?
Oh yeah, we're going to publish this oversized, so it's going to be A4, just like Love and Cora.
Oh my God. Okay, because I talk amongst yourselves. RJ will be back. RJ will be back. Let me, because I've got to
do the thing.
I've got to do the thing. Where's the? Oh, I've lost buttons. Here we go. Okay, tell people about Life on Cora and the Radiant site.
So, Life of Cora is a series of short stories on an alien world that we've been looking at, and the Radiant site is a Korean drama-inspired romance series that the good guy in the chat, Martin Fisher, has been writing, and now has a completely new creative team that is working for us to get it, done and published. We did the campaign earlier, like late 2021, sorry, and we didn't actually make the goal. However, we are finishing, we are keeping our promises, and we are going to publish this book properly. And we're going to keep making this one.
Good, because I wanted to read that, and I was disappointed that it didn't make it. This is a standard size comic book, folks. This one happens to be starring Sonia Devereaux. It's a cosplay cover. Has nothing to do with this broadcast other than the fact that it's a comic book. This is Life on Cora. Now, this is, you can see, all you Americans, how much bigger this is. The Sin Killer already came out in this size. It's going to be blown up to this size. So
you're going to get more money for your buck.
Yeah. If you've got the Sin Killer already, get it again. Because
It's
you're
worth
going to
it.
Yeah, get them bigger, that bigger sized thing, and it will have bags and boards that'll fit it. Even this one, wow, this bag and board combination, it still is like sticking up just a tad bit higher than the bag will contain. But a good carpet cutter knife across. No, don't do that. Get a bigger bag. Get a bag that fits, folks, and a bag.
That's
They make
why I
them.
put them all in bags before I send them out to you.
Yes, you did. Heck, you did all the work.
Yes.
I opened up a box full of boxed things. I'm like, I just got to stick labels on it. Normally, and actually, I like it. When I just get raw books, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bag them. I'm gonna board them. I'm gonna put them.
Well, you are going to this time because it will save me a lot of money. So
good. You took all the fun out of it last time, man. I was like, plus you made it hard because I was trying to do a surprise and had the little pins here.
Yeah.
And I had to shove them down into the already closed. I'm not doing that this time.
Please don't.
You've already got a stuffed animal going out there, so.
Oh man, that's going to be interesting.
But I had this. I had the PayPal money. I got the offer from Sticker Mule. Says, hey, you want these? I'm like, those are too cheap not to get some. What will I do with it? Oh, I'm going to be distributing this book. Let me see if I can get the character in there. And I did, and they did, and I got them. And the rest is history.
Both.
So now you've got some other anthologies here, and I have not seen these. I have.
Besides publishing Love and Cora, when we started, we organized a couple of anthologies. So we did Over a Coffee, which is all about coffee. Flying Words, which is 11 writers with the very loose prompt flying words. And what they did with it, they're all very unique and small stories. And then we did My Cup of Tea as well, which is, all about tea.
So it's the sequel to, Over a Coffee.
Yeah. It's fun to put them next to one another at cons and point them down, like which ones do you prefer, coffee or tea? And they sell like hotcakes because of it. And they are super fun. So
you need an autobiography there. Get an autobiography, and then you can harken back to that old. Never mind. It's bad. It's the 1970s porn era, which wasn't porn, but there was the book called Coffee, Tea, or Me, which was all about stewardesses. But have an autobiography there. You say, hey, coffee, tea, or me. Doesn't work.
But that would work only in a kissing booth.
Absolutely. No, but I love anthologies like this. In fact, and sequel anthologies where you kind of get to play with the name. We're doing our own anthology. We're reading through March. A year ago, we did The Devil You Know, which was 20 stories of people's encounters with the devil, either horror or comedy or fantasy or folktale, whatever people wanted to write. We had some really good stories. So much that we are now doing The Devil You Know Better, and it's going to be another 20 stories. And we are going we're going to crowdfund this, Mike Jimmy. It's going to be okay. Let me restate that. We're publishing the book. We've got plenty of submissions in already. It's going to be hard to narrow it down to 20 this time. But we're going to crowdfund a special edition of the book because we're going to have stories in here from Mike Barron and Hart Fisher. And the crowdfunded version is going to be going to include a signature book card from both, signed by both of them. They'll get the cards. They'll send them back to me, and then only as many as we crowdfund. So it's just something to kind of offset the cost and to make it cool. Dave says it's going to be tea for him. I'm English. There's no other option. Do you take it red? And yes, anthologies with big packages.
Big package.
You haven't picked up the fairy tales from CG UK? Do that.
I'm in there.
Yes, you are. I want to get that book. So what else we got here? Unlocked. the stretch goals are unlocking. You've got an Aquanid creature bookmark.
Yes. So
these are not lily pads. Those are bugs.
Yes. That is the whole point. They are bugs. So what you're going to get with these is the art on the front, and on the back you're going to have extra info about the creatures that really expands the world building. So in that way, you don't have to get bored in the comic with like, this is how they live, etc., etc., etc. No, this is, something extra that as a reader of the comic, you don't really have to know. But maybe fun little tidbits for the extra, for the people that really likes it, the world building side of it.
You know it, and then you can see it when you look for it in the book.
Exactly.
Your next stretch goal is at the 1,000-pound mark, where you'll then have an Eleni creature bookmark, 1,500 for the crawl hugger. This is where we got to get, folks. RJ wants his stickers. Get Papa RJ his stickers now, because
we still got a while to go, lovelies. Come on, help me share this word.
Well, I've got an entirely blank slate back of a laptop now because my previous laptop went tits up. It's like I pressed the power button and nothing happened. So I took it to Best Buy, and they pressed the power button and nothing happened. They said, "Yeah, it's broke." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. That's why I brought it here." Like, yeah, nothing you can do. I got to go tomorrow and bring it back in. They're going to get the hard drive copied off. I asked them to image it onto this one. So I'm like, so I'm back to where I was. Like, no, can't do that. I'm like, it's Windows 10 on both. Yeah, but it's going to be Windows 11. They're going to make you take it, and then it won't work anymore.
Oh, God.
Anyhow. Yeah. So all the stickers I put on there, I've got to start all over again. I got to remember that, put stickers on something you're going to keep for longer than 2 years. Like my table or my refrigerator. I'm starting to fill those up with Comicsgate stickers. So
or my stand.
Yeah, something that's going to stick around longer than a laptop. Oh, no. I take it back. We've got to get to...
oh, yes, we do.
We've got to get to the cutie stickers. This is awesome. And I they were so awesome, I totally skipped the 6x8 standee, which is what? It's this square right here, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be a scene from the comic. So it's, normally it's a cutout or a main character pinup or something like that. I figured, you know what? Let's take one of my favorite scenes from the comic and just, have something that you can, look at and just enjoy and is a little bit more than just a little thing.
Yeah, and as a standee, what's it got? The fold-out flap on the back to where you can set it on your counter. If you're like me, I fold them in, I put them behind glass and put them on a frame. You can do that as well. And then the cuties. Oh, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
This is just like what my good friend Ethan Van Sciver showed on his channel earlier today when he went through a campaign. We are doing the distribution on this, so
yes, you are.
Cannot wait to do this. And you've got other friends of the channel on here. The Adventures of Taylor by Arya Black, Mavericks from Global Frequency Studios, another great book. Ego Raven. Look at the It's almost like everyone's starting to work together and cross promote and do stuff.
I know, right? Well, honestly, I was like, why wouldn't I? I got all this space on my page. If you feel like scrolling further down and further down, and I was like, you can fill it up with all kinds of BS that doesn't really matter. Or, I could actually help out my friends. So here we are. Exactly.
And then, people read this and they don't, as soon as people get to this part, they're like, okay, there's nothing more I can buy.
Yeah.
You could literally just type anything you wanted there and people would probably skip it. I'm going to scare myself here. I'm going to try to reload and fingers crossed, toes crossed. Yeah,
it worked. It doesn't happen yet. Whatever. It's cool.
Okay. Look, we need. It's showing it in US dollars, so I don't know.
672 euros.
672 euros. We need another 328 euros to hit that 1,000 euro goal. You can do that, folks. You just need, a couple of people get the Explorer package here, and we're good to go.
Oh yeah.
But if you're just going to get a physical copy, $11. Um, if you want your Otzi plushie, this would be either the first or the second plushie in all of Comicsgate. $46. Well spent to have this quality looking beast sitting on your monitor. It's got wires in it to frame to hold place. You could probably make it grip over the top of your monitor and look down at you as you work.
Yeah,
they make those. What are they called? They're not stuffed because they're
yeah, I know. It's like the cat thingies.
Yeah. You should you.
I could totally try and find a person who could do that for me. I like that idea.
A couple of Eleni just looking over your laptop monitor.
Yes. Oh my god, that would be so cool.
Just
I'm gonna keep that
sell
one
them
in
as a
mind.
pair. There they both are. They're looking up. They're looking over your monitor. They're trying to find their friend.
Oh my god, that's a good one. I'm gonna keep that one in mind. Might be a future.
I got it back, Paul. That's what I always do. Is I spend other people's money when I have them on the show for things that will work well with their campaign. And I haven't done it for a while. I'm glad the magic's back. You got a retailer tier. Retailers, get this in your store. You're going when people see this oversized book that looks like nothing that's on your shelves right now. It's going to attract their eye. They're like, oh, this is European. This is continental. This is something I can't get here. It's very boutique. Yes, give me one. So you can't give them one if you don't have it on your shelf, retailers. So reach out to us, and we will make sure that you get your retailer package. I'm not going to go through every one of these. Y'all can do that on your own. You can read, you big boys and girls. All I want to just get across to you is that the original cover art is available for Rage and ABC. So get that, of all things. That's amazing. But the book is cool. You're going to learn something. You're going to get caught up in this fantasy. Get in on the ground floor of this fantasy. It's issue 5, still ground floor, because you can still get 1 through 4 before the collector's market drives them up. Because then you have to go to eBay.
Just FYI, this is going to be the last campaign where you can get first print run issue once. Because I'm running out, and I'm running out fast.
Bristolian Dave can't read. That's why he buys comics. Yeah, I learned
pictures.
I was reading at 4 years old because I was not buying comics. They printed them in my town. That's where all the books were printed. Sparta, Illinois. In the 1970s, early 80s, everything, DC, Marvel, all the independents, World Color Press right there. And the people who worked there, it's like if you worked at the donut factory, you bring home the stuff at the end of the day that didn't sell. They brought home print overruns on everything.
Nice.
So my LCS store was my friend's family's yard sales. And you just say, oh, look, this, it was beautiful time.
That's awesome, though. I wish I had that. That was good.
It made the hunt harder because it's like, I didn't bring home any of those. I'm like, but there's not a comic shop around here. There was a comic shop for 40 miles in any direction because they couldn't compete with free,
But Dave, if you can't read, are you going to write it?
And he's writing his own. That's right. You're writing your own comic. You're doing the whole. Is it? It's not Fractured Fairy Tales, is it? That's the cartoon.
I wouldn't know what he's writing.
Oh, well, he's just scratching on the page there. It'll come out looking like alien hieroglyphs because he can't read. Anyway, Mike, Jimmy, thank you so much for coming on today, sir, and for continuing life on Cora for us. This is such a fun adventure to be in. It's fresh and it's new and it's not like anything that's out there. You can't elevator pitch this and say, if you like this, you're going to love this.
Mm-hmm. It has its own thing, and I'm really, really proud of what we're putting down. It's incredible to work on this. Yeah, Twisted Fairy Tales. That's the one.
Twisted Fairy Tales. Thank you, Bristolian Dave. I got Fractured Fairy Tales in my head because of the Bullwinkle and Rocky cartoons that I grew up with. They had the Fractured Fairy Tale cartoons. It is its own thing. It's incomparable to anything else. Get this. So, folks in the chat, thank you so much for showing up tonight, today, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. We don't have a show without you. And as always, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.
Stay up.